Hey guys, what's going on this afternoon? Just going to wait for a couple more people. Hi, Chelsea. Hi, Brett. Hi, Aggie. Hi, Donnie. Hi, Squishy. Hi, Just Me. Hi, Maddie. Hi, Terry. Hi, Carolina. You're new here. Hi, welcome. Hi, Keandra. We actually had an early morning show this morning about Michael Long. That was kind of crazy. We're not going to talk about that right now. We'll just wait a few minutes. Hi, Starry. Before we get started, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel and like the video. Even if you don't like it, for some reason it does something.
It doesn't matter how many viewers we have. It's how many likes we get.
Yeah.
A lot of times there'll be 2,000-3,000 people in chat and 100 likes. Well, yeah, we get dinged.
Hi, Shirley. Hi, Linda.
Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Oh, Jenny's cuddles and kisses. I could use some cuddles and kisses today.
I know. I want a puppy dog. I hear an echo. Is it me? I got to move my microphone.
Me and Noah did have snuggle time yesterday for a little bit.
Aww.
I don't know. You want me to go out and come back in? Hold on. Let me see if I have something else up. Because I come straight in from StreamYard.
It seems like it corrected itself.
I don't have any. Okay. Because I don't have anything else in my background. I only have StreamYard up.
Hi, TJ. Welcome. Nope, Linda, you're right. They still haven't found Summer. It's been a month now, guys. It's been a month since she disappeared from Rogersville, Tennessee.
Hey, you're breaking up.
I am? Can everyone hear me now?
Thank you, Brett.
All right, so there's tons of groups out there, and I mean tons for Summer Wells, but the main group seems to be her dad's page, Donald. Donald Wells' page. He's got so much traction on this. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's talking about meeting her in the resurrection. He said he's given up hope. He stopped talking about President Trump and kidnappers taking her to Mexico. So we're good there.
Apparently, he's not posting because he's in Facebook jail. But
Well, I
he's
don't
turned his
know.
attention. He's turned his attention to H's family here lately. Had a dream, and God of Israel and the living God will please, I beg and plead with you, Lord of Lords, please bring these abductors down speedily. These abductors, as in more than one, I don't. You can't track his train of thought.
No.
Oh no, Maddie, you never give up hope when it comes to your child. No. And then Don wants us in our military to fight terrorism all over the world. Why can't we fight them here? Why are we allowing terrorists to abduct them, rape them, kill them, and who knows what sorts of terror they go through? Okay,
Well, and
we're not allowing.
no, nobody allowed Summer to get kidnapped.
Other than the 5 people that were in her presence.
Yeah. So a few people in the group and on the page have mentioned that they've only seen one story. Well, that's from the news article. That's from the news interview. But the fact is, there's been at least 5 stories that I know of that have come from Summer's mom, Candace.
Exactly.
Let's go through those. The first one I heard was she walked out the back door barefoot and didn't see her again.
Wasn't she cooking dinner in one story?
One story, she was cooking dinner, she turned away and she was gone. Then we heard the story that her and her mother, that's Candace and Summer's grandmother, were planting flowers. She walked her to the porch. She asked her brothers to watch her. She went to the basement to play with toys, and 2 minutes later, she was gone.
So now, let's go with that story. You are 10 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you walk your child in? Okay, and then 2 minutes. Okay, you put grandma's brace on or whatever, smoke your whatever or whatever you do in that 2 minutes time. You go back in, so you immediately go look for her, right? Who does that?
Nobody.
You immediately, as soon as you walk in, it's just a portrayal to get everyone to think, and nobody watches their child 24/7.
No, God, no. We were talking about that last week. Do you think that I would walk my child to the porch? They already know how to walk. Go inside, see your brothers, go play with toys, and then I'll call you for dinner or whatever. Jenny, you're right. Yep. And she went on a walk. Well, she said a run. And I kept saying, what run? Is she a jogger? Is Candace an athlete?
But then she says in her interview, I don't run or walk anywhere.
Yeah. So I'm like, what run are you talking about? Did you run to the bank? Did you run to get dinner? Did you run to pick up
drugs?
You'd already been to Walgreens with your mom, because she said it took 20 minutes to get her mom's prescription. So they went to Warrior Park, and that's where Summer and the 15-year-old went swimming.
Now Candace does rebut that. Somebody asked on one of her posts, were y'all at Warriors? She said Fort Henry Dam. I know it's the same general area, but why didn't you just say that to begin with?
Or how about this? When your child goes missing, you should have it ingrained in your mind what happened. No wonder the TBI is so confused.
Absolutely.
They already said within 48 hours, they normally know, or they have an idea of how this is going on. They have
what happened.
What, when, where. They got it all. But they said there's no person of interest. They can't make heads or tails of this. Charlene, you're right. First was the driveway.
The driveway. And now in Don's latest interview, he says, missing or last seen at 5:30. Now, I want you guys to go back. The 911 dispatch call was at 6:34, and it was stated in that call she'd been missing about 20 minutes. So that puts her missing since 6:14. And that's when the 911 was at 6:34, when Candace had been on a run. Now Don's saying on his last. Yes, right, absolutely. She was last seen at 5:30. He says that Mom didn't walk her home. Mom just sent her in the house. He says Candace has anger issues. She's really mad and she has anger issues. I'd probably be scared. Did Mom get mad and snap? Then it says, Dawn says, I don't know how she went missing. 5 people that were 30 feet away. If the boys are upstairs, I mean, that's an 800 square foot home. So
well, what about this? When the abductor came in, did the boys not see him?
Well, because according to David Dotson, he got the call, and I if 911's called at 6:30, or 6:34 to be exact, David Dotson said he was called about 6:30, 7 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, and she had been gone 20 minutes at that point. So the time can't get later. At 8 o'clock, you can't tell so-and-so she's been gone 20 minutes, because it was 20 minutes at 6. So kind of David Dotson's story there, but that's what Candace told him. And I do believe him. I do believe he's creepy, but I believe what he said. And it was told to him, his opinion is, had to go out the front door because everyone told him the basement was locked. Even the boys told him the basement was locked.
Exactly. Who smuggled her out of there?
Exactly. The boys are in the kitchen, living room, wherever. I mean, don't you think it's kind of odd that the boys are in the kitchen watching YouTube or the internet? I mean,
but she said living room. She said living room.
I thought Dotson said kitchen. I don't know. It's just a lot to keep up with. But Dotson said she was gone 20 minutes, not 2 minutes, as Candace said.
Yeah.
And that would make more sense because, okay, I walk through my house, my backyard's fenced. I mean, I know my son's probably playing on the trampoline if he's not inside. He doesn't leave the home without my permission, or our backyard. That's where he can go. So I walk in, see him on the front porch, and I walk in and, I go get me something to drink. I don't immediately call for my son just because I haven't seen him for 2 minutes. I do what I'm doing. I walk down the hall. He's not in his bedroom, so I know he's outside. So I go to the back door and, open the door and I check on him. That's what people do.
But that's what normal people do. I don't think for a minute she guided her around the property. I've seen the pictures. I've seen the videos.
Nope.
It makes no sense. So real quick, I'm just going to show you guys a clip of... Oh, hang on one second. Of Sheriff Ronnie Lawson. So hold on just 1 second. This is going to be basically the latest update we have.
Now everything is still on the table. We're still trying to find out what happened this summer. So everybody's still a person of interest. Still looking at help the landowners too to go back and check their trail cameras, their security cameras every day, especially around the time that she disappeared. We never know who was going to be in that area, and we're still looking for a red Toyota truck. And everything that we do is trying to put a piece of the puzzle together to find Summer. And it may not be something that mean anything to the people. It may mean everything to us. Just right now, everything is still on the table. We're still trying to find out what happened to Summer. So everybody's still a person of interest. Still looking at help the landowners too to go back and check their trail cameras. cameras every day, especially around the time that she disappeared. We never know who was going to be in that area, and we're still looking for a red Toyota truck. And everything that we do is trying to put a piece of the puzzle together to find Summer. It may not be something that mean anything to the people. It may mean everything to us. Just right now, everything is still on the table. We're still trying to find out what happened to Summer. So everybody's still a person of interest. Still looking at help landowners too to go back and check their trail camera.
Yeah, all right, we got it. Financial burden?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it is.
But that's their job.
That is their job. And don't get me wrong, this sheriff is really cool, and I think he is so he's if he had hair, he's pulling it out. You know that. Because everything we're discussing, he's been told.
What about remember they said the scent ended at the driveway.
Right.
In Don's latest interview, he said it didn't end there.
Saying to check your trail
cameras. It went through the trails.
He wants the neighbors to check everything. He's been hell-bent on that since day one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right, Donnie. I think
now this red truck.
Yeah, I want to talk about the red truck because Don was talking about it on his Facebook.
Now those ladder racks easily come off.
Right. So
and it is hard to believe if there is a trail cam. If there's a trail cam footage that it does, I mean, if you can tell there's white buckets in the back, then you should be able to tell if it's a male or female occupant, a partial tag number. I mean, if you can see it that close, it is really hard to believe that no one can find this truck, especially when the neighbor had one just like it. I mean, I scratched my head, and police need to release a video of this is the truck and show it without the ladder racks. I don't know. This is kind of like the same thing with Summer's picture. Why are you posting pictures of her with long hair?
I know, and we've discussed that. Why are you doing that when you shaved her head before she went missing? Why was Candace's head shaved?
Yes, if we go back to Candace's pictures when she had long hair.
She had long hair. It's one thing to get a haircut, you get a summer do or whatever, but next thing you know, I mean, it's all shaved off. And she's like, well, she's a tomboy. I'm a tomboy. Well, you weren't a tomboy a few months ago. You had long hair.
And this would have been about time that the Jose story, when she filed the charges against Dawn. So right. Is this punishment from Dawn? Oh, shave your hair off so no man wants you? Dawn, in my opinion, is very controlling. Very controlling. He says Summer wouldn't lie, or Candace wouldn't lie to him. Why would you even bring that up? Was she lied to you about having another man in the house? What man is going to sit by idly while you FaceTime a 15-year-old the night your daughter goes missing? David Dodson said she was on live when he was there and introduced H to him. Okay, so we're making new acquaintances while my daughter's out missing? Nothing makes sense with this story. Nothing whatsoever.
And another thought, okay, if H is such a close family friend, why did she take him alone to go swimming? She said, because he said his grandma's a bitch. Okay. So she has boys that probably wanted to go swimming too. Or
that
go
are closer to that age. Yes.
Yeah. Rather than him going swimming with Summer.
But remember, Candace asked a lady to babysit Summer that day. And she couldn't do it because she had a doctor's appointment. Why would you want, and Candace acts like this wasn't this was just all a fluke. Okay, so I leave the house, go pick up mom, have to go get her prescriptions. Oh, so we got 20 minutes and it pops in my head, let's go swimming. Let's take Summer swimming. But when she called H that morning, or Allison, whoever she phoned that morning to set this up, she specifically told Allison, I'm going to take him swimming. So this wasn't a spur of the moment decision like she tries to make it out to be, because when she set up the arrangement to take H, it was to go swimming. Now, if you're going to go swimming, a remark was made, why did Summer have the long sleeve on and the pants on and that? And Candace stated that that was because that's all she had in the car to put on her after she went swimming. So obviously she wasn't prepared for the swimming trip.
But remember, she also said they were waiting for a prescription at Walgreens and then decided to go swimming at Warrior Park. And then she said there was trash everywhere. That one guy, he found the black trash bag full of beer cans and stuff. And now Donald, who has basically doxed this kid, is publicly asking why this family has turned on them. He said they've been nothing but nice to them. I'm like, but have you really?
I mean, what has he turned on him? What has he told him? The truth? I mean, it's not like H is, I mean, he's headed down a bad path too. I mean, he's got some charges. He's on probation.
His cover photo is still him and Candace.
Why? Why? That makes no sense. And then we come to find out that in that time frame, before they went swimming, when she picked H up, Candace stayed at Allison's for an hour and a half. Yeah, she didn't care to tell anybody that. But remember, they're not friends anymore either. But yet, Candace goes and hangs out with Allison for an hour and a half.
Right. And
Makes
now
no
suddenly
sense.
they're not friends.
Yeah, they're not friends. We had a falling out over a guy, and to hear Allison say, you know, she didn't want anything to do with Candace, and I'd rather, you know, I don't want to see Jose again, and blah, blah, blah. Where was Summer? Because Allison states, you know, when I seen Summer, she was asleep and I wanted to hug her. Well, where was Summer the hour and a half that she was at your home? You didn't get to hug her then? None of it makes any sense.
None of it. And that's why the TBI says this is not a usual case. This is out of the norm.
And, you know, and in the Wells case, the parents did the exact same thing. Duty Ron talked about this last night. You know, their thing was, you know, come inside and the kids are supposed to be in the room and they're just missing. 2 kids vanish in front of the mother and father. How does that happen? Supposedly not since October 20th. What do you mean, Jenny?
Hi, Angel. Hi, yes, K-Bug. We have a lot of new members in here. Welcome. Yeah, Ladybug.
Candace did an interview with them. Yes, fishing, swim. Which, I mean, were there any fishing poles present?
Nope. Nope.
Wouldn't you take your fishing pole if you were going fishing?
There was a black hefty bag full of empty beer cans. But Candace happened to mention, remember, when Candace mentions details, that's one thing.
Oh, yeah.
But other stuff she's got skewed. But she can tell you that when they showed up to Warrior Park, there was trash everywhere.
And how's that relevant? It's relevant because somebody posted it in a video. Somebody else stated they went down and they found all this twisted tea. She only brings up things that she's heard on media. She just wants to make herself look good. And it's clearly stated when she put the pictures of Alice, the 2 pictures she put on her Facebook recently, and everybody said, why, what's this? Trying to clear my name on Facebook.
I
What
could
does
not
that
believe
matter?
you said that.
Why
She said,
aren't you
I'm
begging?
putting these pictures up to clear my name. Who cares about your name? Your daughter is likely dead.
None of that matters. And how come every time we see a picture, there's either one or two boys present? There's never all three here lately. And I haven't looked at that before. But remember, Dad did an interview and he had the one son real close to him. Remember at the last vigil, I think two of the kids showed up to the prayer vigil with Candace. Yesterday, just one child.
Yeah, speaking of, hold on. I'm going to play that video really quick.
Okay. I got you, Jenny.
Summer Wells was reported missing from her home in Hawkins County. This evening, people gathered to pray for her safe return.
News Channel 11's John Janko shows us the sights and sounds of tonight's prayer circle.
Members of the Tri-Cities community came to Borden Park tonight to pray for the safe return of Summer Wells.
Right now, I think we just all need to kind of come together and kind of just pray over the situation. God's angels are already surrounded.
Candace Wells attended the circle with one of her sons. She declined an interview this evening, but she did say that no law enforcement has contacted her this week. Members of the crowd offered their condolences to Wells.
They're so.
Law enforcement has not contacted her all week.
Nothing new to update. Why aren't you calling them and asking? Because they'd get tired of me calling because I'd call 10, 15 times a day. Why are you not checking in? Why are you not asking the questions? Why are you not putting flyers out? Why aren't you doing anything, Candace?
Because part of the GoFundMe money is to buy flyers.
Okay, but there is a company that donated them.
I know.
That was posted somewhere.
But you see the buzzsaw we're going through. We've got 5 different stories. Then we've got the money coming in. That was supposed to be for Dawn to take off work. And then it's for flyers.
Okay, and they've had so much. They could have hung themselves 10 times at this point.
Right.
And I get them giving enough rope to hang themselves, but why aren't these boys out of her care?
Well, the case in California, they certainly were. You're right, Tina. Welcome, Tina. I would be calling every day you're going down the police station. You would
Absolutely.
do something. And I certainly wouldn't have 5 different stories, guys. It's insane.
I'd be very protective of my boys. Really, they would not get out of my sight. I mean, Candace, just why aren't you protecting your 3 kids? They would be with me every minute, and I wouldn't be on the way to the prayer vigil stopping to buy a bong at a store on the way there. Supposedly, she was seen on the way, and she was also seen at AT&T buying new phones. Candace did a interview with someone, and we have that, don't we? Yes, we do. And in there, this woman goes up to the house, and she's doing interviews, and then she posts, she asks some questions, and then she posts them in a group. One of them, she tells the lady, whoever's interviewing her, if you want to talk to the boys, you can go take them in private and talk to them. This is a complete stranger that you're letting in your home, and you're going to let your 3 children go talk to this lady alone?
Well, I wouldn't allow anyone.
And then there's a school bus on the property. No. Especially a stranger. Come on. Law enforcement's one thing, but a stranger, that's like me and you going up to her house and saying, hey, can you talk to us? But also in that story, there's a school bus on the property. And grandma, had a fit and did not want anyone looking in that school bus. No, that was really kind of odd.
And not to mention, where did grandma go for 2 days? Did she really leave? I've seen tons of comments.
Exactly.
I've had people message me, and I'm like, I can't really do anything with this, guys. I really can't. And by the way, thank you guys for all the messages, the updates, and things like that. Love it. So appreciated. Some of this stuff we just can't use. All right. Anyone that has actual nudes of Candace, I am not going to post that. Okay. Don't need it.
Oh my goodness. I wouldn't want to see that.
Yeah. Don't need it. Don't want it. I mean, I'm sure she's done something. That's not, we don't care. We don't care. All right. I'm going to finish this real quick.
Okay.
Many people out there praying for her and praying for you all over the world. Yes.
It was a night of emotion.
And she prays for her every night when she goes to bed. That she's safe and that she will get to come home soon.
Coupled with praise.
He is right there when it looks like hope is lost. You're gonna find out.
I wanted to sing some songs that brought encouragement and just to give hope and know that there's hope in Jesus.
Filled with hope for Summer Wells.
Well, we don't know where Summer's at, but we can call upon God. He knows. Amen.
We believe hope is what we have, and I believe that's what God has given us. And we just want to spread this hope because I've seen God do so many great things, and we're believing He's going to show up in this situation.
And what the community is doing is wonderful, beautiful. I mean, they're reaching out. These people are doing the right thing.
Is there one thing nobody noticed in that video? Did Candace shed a tear?
Nope. And why are we doing
Did Candace
balloon
speak?
release?
Did Candace speak and say, bring my daughter home? Or I appreciate all that, or just a nod, or when the lady's crying because she's so emotional. Did Candace go hug her? Did Candace do anything? Nothing. Just the same dead look on her face as in all her photos and everything else. That has got to be the most expressionless woman that I've ever seen.
Yeah, she's very detached.
Absolutely.
I mean, I give the benefit of the doubt. I really do. I'm just kind of wondering if she didn't go to the doctor and the doctor's like, look, you're going through some very hard times, so I'm going to prescribe you something. But she was like that in her videos before. Remember the TikTok video where
Exactly.
she's laying in the yard?
Mm-hmm. That's a cemetery, actually.
It was at a cemetery.
She's actually at a cemetery in that picture. Yes. Outside of a church. Yes.
Wow.
A doctor prescribing her Xanax, I feel, is kind of out there because Xanax now is hard to get. It really is, since the opioid crisis, and it's so addicting. Boost Bar, they usually do. When my husband passed, they did not give me Xanax. They give me Boost Bar, which, it's a long acting. It's not more of an immediate release like the Xanax. But with her history of being an alcoholic and a drug user, to put a heavy medication on top of that, I don't think a doctor who has a conscience would really do that. Yes, they may have given her something, but Candace has been on medication before.
Oh,
Candace has had depression and been on medicine before. So her emotions are the same as they were in the other photos.
All right, we have a question here from Brett. He
Absolutely,
said,
Brett. She knows a lot more than she's saying.
Yeah. I think she has forgotten a lot of stuff. That's the reason we have the 5 stories. 6, 7, whatever people are saying. I know of 5. And I'm telling you, when hi Francine, hi Lydia, when your child goes missing, okay, it's ingrained in your head. This is where I was standing. This is what my child was wearing. This was the time. So I will never understand all of these stories.
I mean, the truth. You don't tell 5 stories, just tell the truth. That's all we want. Everybody would be off Candace's ass if she just literally sat there and said, okay, this is exactly what happened. I know there's rumors out there. This, and give an exact timeline. I mean, not leave stuff out and then we hear, she's give her story. We've seen it on TV. She said she was gone 2 minutes. Now we find out it's 20, and she's supposed to be missing at 6:30, and now it's 5:30 according to Dawn. The anger issues, and they were 30 feet away, and there's just too much. And then she was at Allie's for an hour and a half.
But I thought they
Why
weren't
didn't
friends.
she say all that? Exactly, since last year October, supposedly. And she won't
Brett
let the boys out of her
wants to
sight.
know what's her motive. He said, what's her motive if that's the case?
Jealousy.
She has anger issues. She's jealous of her daughter. I mean, she can't give a straight story. You're right, Miss Slinky Moon. I would be in the woods every day too. Well, the thing is, I mean, how far away can Summer get? It's been a month. She says 2 minutes. She says when she went in there, she said she called for Summer. Usually Summer yells right back. But she said she didn't.
Kids don't do that. What's her motive? Jealousy. Or, she has such a tomboyish outlook on life. She's not feminine in any way. And I don't mean this in a negative way. She doesn't wear a bra. Most of the time doesn't wear shoes. She wears boy shorts. She's a very manly woman from what I've seen. Maybe she doesn't know how to raise a daughter. Maybe the hair cutting with Summer, we've seen it was matted in a lot of pictures. Maybe she didn't know how to take care of a daughter. Who knows what the motive is? Or maybe it was just an accident, Brett. It could have been an accident and she didn't know what to do and just covered it up. I mean, most of us I don't think she intentionally.
Well, I mean,
her daughter, and somehow she's covered it up.
Well, Candace's first story was that Summer walked out barefoot, but yet you have search and rescue, TBI, everyone saying that the terrain is super rough, so much that they did not want any volunteers out there. But yet, 5 years old, no water, no food or anything, she got away.
And she's not a healthy little girl. She looks pretty sickly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at this comment by McMack. I think Dawn contradicts her on purpose to throw blame on her. Absolutely.
I think Dawn's messages are riddled. Didn't we go over that last week? My analogy of his riddled messages. Yeah, I do think Dawn is very controlling. And, why buy a new car? That vehicle she has will comfortably seat 4 people. And there's no leg room in the back. Those boys get right now their legs are cramped. They're very cramped.
Right.
In that back seat. You might could squeeze 2 of the smaller boys and Summer in the back seat. But there's not a lot of room in that car. Why would you have a brand new car that all your entire family can't fit in? It's just me and my son. I have a Challenger. I have a brand new Challenger. But there's 2 of us. But I can fit 4 people in it comfortably. 4 adults. The inside of that Subaru is damn near as small as far as legroom as my Challenger. But I also have a brand new SUV too. And it's just me and my son. Because you never know who's going to go with you. When you go somewhere. What if you're out to lunch with friends and they want to ride with you? So generally you would have a car big enough to fit your whole family plus one or two, I would say. Not one that your entire family.
I'm not throwing shade at her not wearing shoes. I'm just talking about, I'm not wearing shoes now. I hate wearing shoes. What I'm saying
I'm
is,
in my house. So.
right. But if she took off barefoot, just me, and went into the woods, it would be hard on her feet. Yeah, and you couldn't keep shoes on me. I hate wearing shoes.
Me too. But if I go in public, I'm wearing them,
Right? So what do we think about the picture of her supposedly sleeping, laying on the jugs of milk in the back seat?
I'm not going to speculate on this picture. I think everybody was going, and I go overboard on a lot of things. Don't think I don't. I get an idea and I take off running.
I'm crazy on this picture.
This is insane. People saying she was dead in the picture. Look, my child falls asleep. It don't matter what's beside him. He's going to lean on it. If it's a block of ice, he's going to lean on it.
Right.
I mean, this wasn't frozen milk.
Mm-hmm.
She's in a hot truck. We don't even know if that truck had air conditioning.
Well, right. And if kids are tired enough, they'll fall asleep sitting up.
Exactly. I don't put anything into that. I'm not buying the hoopla. She was deceased in the picture. Her hands were swollen, or her temples were purple. I don't buy into any of that. I wish I could find something in that picture that could convince my mind that maybe it happened at that point. I can't. I get nothing from that picture.
No, I just see a kid tired out.
Swimming is very tiring. You're out in that sun.
Mm-hmm.
It's very tiring.
Yeah, SK, you're right. To clear this for people, if she was dead, cadaver dogs would have hit on that truck.
Sure. Now, Candace and them have 11 acres of land. Why aren't they searching? Why are they not searching their own land? They cut firewood for themselves and do everything else. They're going down steep terrain to go all these fishing holes and swimming holes they go to. Why aren't they searching their own property? Why aren't they asking the neighbors? Why aren't they standing on the street corner with a sign, "Find Summer"? Why aren't they doing the things that people would do? Don has said from day one, he knew she was gone. Knew she was gone. The police are wasting their time looking here. Why would that be?
Well, you and I have talked about this for a long time, Kat. We've worked together for a long time. And we have said we should write a book for when people are in this situation, what to do, what not to do.
But it's common sense. You plead for your child to be home.
Right.
You plead, you beg, anyone's attention. You're shopping in the grocery store because, yes, life has to go on. You have to go get groceries for your kids. But you're telling every stranger in that store, "Have you seen my child?" You're doing things. Neighbors are coming together. Search parties are being formed. Volunteers from the community. Yes, I get this is steep terrain. Mm-hmm. But don't you think that the people that live in the hills of Tennessee know how to get around that steep terrain?
Of course they do.
They know how to look and search. The police cannot stop private individuals if private individuals want to do a search. If they get permission from the landowner, the cops cannot stop them from doing that. Everybody's saying the police won't let us search. No, that's wrong. Everybody, the whole family should be looking for Summer. They don't want her found. You're right, Maddie. They don't.
Hi, Ashley. What's going on, Penguin? What do you think of Courtney having... Oh, we'll discuss that later, Ashley. Yeah, this is a totally different case.
What did she admit to doing? Oh my goodness. You'll have to text me that. Yeah, message me that. Or is it in the live from this morning?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go back. The land was given to them, from what I understand, Catherine. Don's mom passed away, and that's how they got the property. Now, this home that they live in, to me, it looks like a camper, like grandma lives in, that has been built onto and around that camper. From some of the angles of the picture that I've seen, it looks like probably there was a camper at one time. And then when Dawn and Candace, because they needed more room with 3 kids than a camper. However, I did know some people with 10 kids in a camper. It looks to me like they've slowly patched onto the house and built onto the home.
Yeah, it does. It's makeshift.
Yes, yes. Nothing legit. I don't guess there's a building code there or anything. They're so far out. Speaking of land, guys, I want to go into this Jackie Dobbs. We haven't touched a lot on this. Jackie Dobbs is, from what I get, an older gentleman, and he's from Georgia, the hills in Georgia. He brought the land on June 1st, beside the wells or behind the wells or on Ben Hill Road. He bought property there. It's just land is all it is. From what I'm getting off the court deed, it looked to be like 2.23 acres, somewhere in there. Not a lot of land, but a patch of land, a couple of acres. He purchased the property on June 1st. Courthouse records show it's recorded as he bought the property. On June 14th, he posted on Facebook a picture of his dog Elvis in the woods that says Ben Hill Hell. So he's not liking the property for some reason. I think he purchased it on the 1st. I don't know if it was done online or if he had to come in person, but it seems to me about the 10th of June, he goes up to the property to visit the property. He's only there a couple of days, literally. He made a post. I don't think the people in Tennessee are welcoming of outsiders. I'm just like them, a hillbilly. But something made him leave a couple of days after someone went missing. So he was literally on that property there, I guess, sleeping in his truck. There was talk of putting a camper there or something. I don't know. But from what I have gathered, he was there 5 or 6 days. During this time, Summer went missing. And then he's gone. A day or two after Summer went missing, he's gone. He's gone back to Georgia at that point. Don't know why. Don't know what the scenario was. He did post on Facebook, somebody asked him, how's the property going up there? And he just said legal problems. Well, obviously, there's not a legal problem over the property itself, or it wouldn't be recorded in his name at the courthouse. So what's the legal problem? Who is this? This is this Jackie Dobbs. He also posted a picture on Facebook, like the day after Summer went missing, where he pretty much, I believe, shaved his head and his beard and stuff and said, new look, new start. This man posts about 50, 60 times a day. It literally took me forever to get back to around the time Summer went missing on his Facebook. But even before Summer, he would post of missing kids. Oh my God, 3 or 4 times a day, every day, missing kids all over. We have found in cases, or we have noticed, that a lot of time people are obsessed with a certain genre of crime. It's just really odd that he's obsessed about missing kids and has been posting it for years.
Yep.
He bought the property.
Really odd.
Brought the property, showed up on the property about a week before Summer went missing. Complains that the people there don't like outsiders. Calls it Ben Hill Hill the day before Summer went missing. And his dog is in the woods walking down what looks to me like a dog trail. And then he's gone. He's just gone. And he shaves and, new look, new start. Well, you normally just don't buy property and just abandon it, whether it is land. He doesn't look like a wealthy man. I think he gets $11,000 for the land. Looks to me like he is more of a homesteader and basically living out of his truck. There was a 4th of July post with a barbecue grill that had a can of like navy beans and those Vienna sausages on the grill. He doesn't look like a man of many means at all. So to just walk off an abandoned property when you don't really have anything else to go back to just is really odd.
To answer Ashley, they have had drones over.
But with all the trees, what's a drone going to see? This is a forest.
Right. Well, I mean, she asked.
Yeah. But yeah. Francine, I don't trust anyone involved here. Nobody. I think Allison had her own agenda when she went on the live. I don't know.
Hang on. Brett wants to chime in. Hold on one moment.
Come on.
Hi, Brett. How are you today?
Hey, y'all. How you doing?
Pretty good. What do you think about this case? I know you've been following it.
Yeah, I've been following it, not as much as some of you guys, and it's really interesting, all the points you're all making. I just seems like the law enforcement has already suspected this young girl deceased, unfortunately, and they're pulling back, and that's what I'm shaking my head at with all this.
Well, what do you think about them saying it's a financial burden?
Yeah, that's that's probably the most knucklehead move that sheriff could have made, and because that's basically saying, we got time, we got to worry about other things. And in my opinion, you're talking about a child here, and it's just unfortunate with some local authorities that are like that.
I think maybe they feel they've wasted their time. I think maybe they do suspect the parents. Possibly.
I
Maybe
agree.
they're just waiting for a clear story.
I agree there, Francine.
David Dodson, he said Candace or Dawn took, what was it, 4? One of them had to take 4 polygraph tests. They couldn't complete them. They attempted 4 polygraph tests.
And the polygraphs, they're dead on. They don't, there's a reason why they use them, I just, I think maybe the authorities aren't giving they're not releasing all their information, because now they're probably, they're probably suspecting someone in the family or someone close, and they can't just say, yeah, we think it's, the mother, okay, because then mom's going to get out of Dodge,
And
I like that.
If anyone heard the interview I played, she told the news that she has not heard from anyone in law enforcement all week.
Yeah,
well, why the hell did she wait on their call?
Right. She should be out there in her bare feet, looking day and night. It seems too lackadaisical, and that's suspicious.
Right.
I believe law enforcement, I just haven't liked how, something just doesn't sit well with me, how they've handled this from the beginning. They got the call. Maybe they knew the family, but when they got the call, they were already sending a mobilization unit, command center, everything out. Before an officer even got there to check the facts. That was kind of worrisome to me.
Wow.
Before you made contact with the family.
Now how large is this?
It's in a mountainous terrain. Population of, I don't know, they're out in the middle of nowhere. Neighbors are, quarter of a mile apart.
Well, they're in East Tennessee.
Right. So they probably jumped all over it.
They're by Bristol and Kingsport. They're a stone's throw from basically North Carolina and Virginia. If any of you are familiar with the Evelyn Boswell case, it's kind of the same area.
Yes, it's the next county over, actually.
Very
close.
Let's see what the population.
See, I'm from upstate New York, so it's is it a condensed population, city-esque, or East Bone?
The population is 4,400.
Timbuktu area.
Population is 4,400 in Rogersville, which is where
Oh
they
my
live.
goodness.
But they live on the outskirts of town. They're not in a heavy populated area. It's all acreage. They have 11 acres. Most of the people out there own acreage. Neighbors are a quarter of a mile apart. You can't see your neighbors from their property. I think on Ben Hill Road, didn't somebody say there was like 4 houses on the whole road?
There's hardly any neighbors out there.
Yeah, there's no one around there.
It's easy to cover things up, in my opinion. When if you're not in a big populated area, you can. It just seems to me, I'm new to this, and I don't want to sound ignorant, but it seems really like this is a premeditated thing.
Penguin, I see what you're saying. I find what the sheriff said is offensive. If they think it was the parents, it's more reason to look for poor Summer. What about they have used dogs. They have used dogs. They've used drones. I mean, they've been on foot.
Let's go back up to Melissa's here. How did Don get home before the police got there? He was working an hour away.
Kat, you know that. That's very common in a rural community. When you have a 911 address.
Yes, but an hour. According to dispatch, they were on scene. It wasn't that long. Don, it wasn't an hour before the cops got there on scene. If we can go back to the dispatch log video, and I want to say it was like 30-something minutes. But Don got home from over an hour away before the police. But then in Dodson's video, when he was there, the police were there. What time did David Dodson arrive? Did he say like 7:30?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I have just to say real quick.
Yeah.
Francine, you're on point.
Francine. Okay, Yep. He was surely going super fast and knows the area.
You're right, Melissa. It is crazy. I mean, the TBI cannot figure this out. They even said within 48 hours, they know. Look at Breasia Terrell. They stopped searching. They had Dinkins in jail. They knew what was going on.
Well, what about the interview where they both give 2 different accounts of why Summer's hair was cut?
Exactly. Yeah, why change the stories?
In one interview, I mean, literally within 5 seconds, interrupted her with a different story of why the hair was cut.
Ashley, actually, the FBI is involved.
We've got something going on here. Let's see. Okay. My grandfather had 100 acres. Yes, you know your land. The FBI was involved. TBI was involved. I'm catching up on comments here.
But now TBI is like, they're like the state's FBI.
Right, the state, yes.
And they hand out Amber Alerts like it's candy. I cannot believe how fast they get an Amber Alert.
You're breaking up.
I am?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
can hear you now. It's just you faded in and out for a minute. I'm looking back at chat. Yeah, I do believe law enforcement is giving them enough rope to hang themselves. I agree with that. But with that, why leave the boys in their care? If that were the case, then the police would be jeopardizing the boys also. Because if it happened, the boys probably seen something or can hear mom talking to somebody on the phone, you know, something, maybe subconsciously, and they don't know what they heard. But she can't be that tight-lipped.
Or not remember what happened. I won't get over that.
Yes, and they were told their first report she was 4 years old. Yeah, she was lost. The report was, yeah, she was lost in the forest.
Yep, you're right, Kevin.
Is that neighbor called Jackie Dobbs? Let me check the spelling.
Missing. How many shoes does Summer have? If she did have shoes on, wouldn't you know what shoes are missing? Well, she didn't have shoes on, according to her. And you're right, Ashley. One thing about the FBI is there
was one laying in the yard. Leah, the spelling of Jackie is Jackie. There is an E on the end of Jackie. Let me go back up.
Hang on. You said McMack. You said Candace said 5. Dawn said 4. Yep. Yeah. Does anyone have YouTube open? There's an echo.
Not me.
Okay.
Candace said 5. Dawn said 4. Referring to what? Mac. I don't know. My son's a shoe freak. He's got 10 or 12 pair of shoes, but I know what they all are. I could look and see if one was missing. You know, I'd know what pair was missing.
Of course. And if your child went missing, you would know what they had on. You would know all of that. You would know the time.
So in the video, Carla, I agree 1000%. I feel like all this has been a cluster since day one. And I feel maybe, because I've always said it's been a cluster, but now thinking about it, maybe it was because of the parents' statements in the beginning that led them down a completely different path. It's really messed up. Really, really messed up.
But I mean, all they have to go off of is what they've been told.
Exactly. So they're sitting back scratching their heads. I'm sure they're like everyone else and screaming because they are monitoring social media. And they're sitting back just, oh my God, how many more times can it change? I mean, they can't. I would be bringing them in and say right now the truth, exactly what happened. And I would be throwing at them, but you said here this, because look, I got all the screenshots of where she said this and all the screen recordings where she said a different story. I'm sure the police can do the same thing. And I'd say, I want the truth right now. And then when she says, well, I did this, but wait, you said here, you spent an hour and a half at Allie's. You're not telling us that.
No, not at all.
But right now, really, all they could actually probably get her for is lying to to authorities. You know, until they've got proof by a body. Remember in the beginning, they said until we can find her and get forensics off of her, We don't know. Everything's circumstantial, Kevin. Yep. I mean, it's all just, you can't put someone in prison for murdering their child just because they lied to you 15 times.
Now, how's the echo coming from me? I have nothing open.
I don't know, but you keep breaking in and out. You keep cutting in and out.
Okay. Well,
And that's a scary thing, Maddie. Yeah. At this point, I have little hope of Summer being found. I do not believe she was abducted and sex trafficked and all this kind of stuff. No. I think that's just insane to even think of. 1% of missing children. There's like 289,000 missing kids a year. Most of them are returned, or runaways or whatever. Out of the 1%, that's like less than 3,000 kids that are actually abducted.
well, hang on.
By non-family members.
Melissa, the reason that she's not in trouble for buying the alcohol is because Allison didn't pursue that. She doesn't want her son any more involved, in my opinion.
Now, we do know that Allison's mother, there has been cases against Allison's mother who she lives with, the Sherry woman. There are police reports and findings in court for child neglect or child abuse. I did find that out. So H and a couple other kids live in the home. I don't know how many kids live in the home. But you just look at the backgrounds of these families, and it goes back to every time. Nobody's watching the kids. Nobody's parenting like they should do. They're drugging and partying and bickering, grown women bickering over a man who has nothing to offer. It's always the same scenario. It's always the chaotic lives that nothing makes sense in. This is where these kids go missing.
Oh, exactly.
John Bonet, that was it's normally not the rich kids.
No, and that'll never be solved.
Oh, no. That went to the grave. That went to the grave.
All right, guys, I'm going to start winding this down, reset my connection, everything. We're going to be back at 3:00 today. Corey's mom is going to be on because his father was finally arrested.
Yay.
I know. So check the page, check the channel. You'll get the notifications. Please subscribe the channel.
Oh, no, Maddie, not Nancy Grace. No.
No, Nancy Grace has lost her mind ever since Casey Anthony's thing. I mean, my God, the stuff that, the way she
was another case, and she just completely, she did a little piece on it, and everything, the facts were completely wrong. So.
All right, guys, see you back in 2 hours.
Bye, guys.